please welcome the founder and creative director of the line animation, Wes Louis.
Morning, Roddy. Can anyone hear me? Morning. Thank you for Dash inviting me here to do this talk. Hope you enjoy it. Just to elaborate, my name is Wesley Louis, and I'm from a studio in London called The Line Animation. And we focus on commercials and action sequences for games and things like that. So yeah, I just want to kind of, come here to kind of show you what we do and get a bit personal about the kind of works that we do as well. So I'm just going to run a little show reel for you guys. Thank you. So today I want to cover a topic which is very kind of, I guess, personal to me. It's about, so I'm calling this talk Soul Projects. So basically it's the power of personal works and how important it is to me personally and how important it is to our company. So I'm going to run through a couple of things. The line Soul Projects, my personal early Soul Projects, and my line Soul Projects. And then right at the end, we're going to have an exclusive. There's a couple of exclusive things that we've got actually. So there's a film that we did that we're going to release later this year. It's actually our 10th year running as a company, so we're going to have a big celebration in September. And you guys get to see it first. So okay, so from left to right, you have Sam Taylor, Max Taylor, they're brothers. Bjorn, Eric Asham, Timothy McCourt, myself, and James Devine. And we're basically, we all met on a commercial working at a company, Partisan, and we shared studio space together. I'm not going to go through our whole history because that will take up like 40 minutes. But basically, we're all artists and animators. So, our studio is an artist-led company. We're not businessmen at all. I think some of us have learned to be better businessmen as we've gone along. But we just wanted to kind of create a space where we could do commercial work, but then also create our own works. And I think that is something that definitely drives the company, and it's at the core of our company. It's something that we want to continue doing. So this is our first studio space. So it's quite a small space. There was 6 of us in a room. Like, you know, you can see it's quite cold. Sam's got his little Woody hat on and stuff. But yeah, this is where we started. And, you know, even with the 6 of us in that small space, it was like a really kind of creative space. Like, I really enjoyed going to work, and just being around people that are very like-minded is something that I'd never had in my career before then. I had it like in drips and drabs, but not like a constant thing. So that's the old space. So that's like based in East London, Nettle House. It was basically like a glorified boys' room, you could say. Since then, we've grown up, so we've got a lot more people. So 6 of us, we've now become 40 people. You know, we've got 2 floors in a much nicer building with lots of plants and greenery and stuff. So it's really nice. So going back to our company, I think these 3 projects, Everything I Can See From Here, Super Turbo Atomic Ninja Rabbit, directed by me, and Amara Walden's Joyride, I feel like those are the core of our company. Those are the projects that I feel like made us well known throughout the internet, and, you know, got us a lot of commercial works. I think this is where, you know, I think it's the most important thing for us to do. It's like the foundation of what we are. You know, trying to create things that we love and enjoy, and just doing it for the sake of it, not necessarily like trying to get big commercial projects and stuff. So I'm just going to talk through this. All these films are on the internet, so, you know, there's a couple of things we're going to play, but there's a couple of things we want to talk over. So Amara Walden's Joyride is, you know, it's basically a short film in the style of a music video, and you've got these kind of crazy boy racers kind of doing these crazy things in the streets of London. It was really, like, fun to get this filmed, and, you know, figuring out animation and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, this was actually like with that dog show. Actually, I think Tim and Max, they went out and they just had a remote control car, and this dog started going crazy over it. And it's like, oh, let's just put that in the film, sort of thing. So yeah, it was really fun to do. Then we have Everything I Can See From Here, so directed by Sam and Bjorn. So this film was, you know, I think when iPads were just starting to come out and stuff, and they wanted to do a film that kind of fit that format. So yeah, it's really, really a lovely film. It actually got BAFTA nominated as well, which was really cool for us. Thank you. But yeah, I'm not going to, because this film's about 8 minutes long, so I'm not going to watch the whole thing. So, and someone likes wallflowers. So Wallflowers is a compilation of vignettes, you know, just people dancing by themselves at a club, and, you know, what they do when they're alone. So this was a really fun project to work on as well. You know. I actually animated this shot. I actually had to film myself doing that move, and I deleted that video since then. No one's ever going to see it. And then we also made one called a game. So it's kind of like a meme called Leo's Red Carpet Rampage. But there is actually a video coming up next, and I think it explains it a little bit better than I will. So I'll just let that... All right, here's a short clip just explaining what this film's about.
Of course, the Oscars are coming up this weekend, and I saw that there's a new online game called Leo's Red Carpet Rampage, where you play Leonardo DiCaprio running down the red carpet trying to catch an Oscar.
Leo's Red Carpet Rampage.
Leo's red carpet. Leonardo DiCaprio. Super red carpet rampage.
Leo's Red Carpet Rampage.
I found this game yesterday. It's so funny. So you press G and H to chase that Oscar. Come on, Oscar!
G and H to go as fast as you can.
Oh shoot, it's like right there.
The point of the original game was that you couldn't win the Oscar at all.
I was involved. I thought it was an incredibly stupid idea, but it seemed really fun as well.
So stupid that just the idea of there being an actual game was kind of enough for us to start working on it.
Who's gonna outrun me? I gotta get it before Steve Jobs does. Is this what his whole life feels like? He's just running after the Oscar on the red carpet. He just can't.
Help me win the Oscar. Okay. Ah!
So this was a really fun game to make, and it literally came out of an idea that we was at a pub and talking about Leonardo DiCaprio never winning an Oscar, and we thought it might be fun to do something around that, and Bjorn came up with this idea of making a game, and 3 months later we came up with this. We had different versions of Leo, so like from different films like The Revenant and him in The Beach and all that kind of stuff, but we only ended up using like 2 of the character models, so the Revenant one and him in his Oscar kind of outfit. So it had different kind of sub-games. So there's one where you have to act harder and you have to kind of bash the buttons. There's one where he has to crawl into the car. And then there's also like a Find a Black nominee. So I think that year there was like a kind of a controversy around the Oscars not being diverse enough. So yeah, we put that in. It was really funny. And as you said, as they said in the video, you couldn't win the Oscars, but we had to kind of come up with a plan that, you know, if he did actually win the Oscars, what would we do about it? So we had to kind of make a new game just in case to release it. And then we came up with Super Red Carpet Rampage, where you can actually win the Oscar, but you have to fight it at the end. So that was really, really fun to go through. And this game went completely viral. I mean, it just went everywhere, like as you saw on Jimmy Kimmel, and everyone was just going nuts about it and stuff. I think it's probably one of our most viral projects today. So yeah, it was really fun working on that. The next thing we've done, well, that wasn't the next thing, but you know, like since then we've tried to kind of do our own R&D projects, and you know, with the advent of films like Spider-Verse and Puss in Boots and all that kind of stuff, and guys like Alberto Miogo, which we really admire. We want to try and find new ways of animating and trying to use technology to kind of, you know, push our animation. Like we're primarily a 2D-led studio, but we're open to using all tools as long as the best image is on the screen. So with this, like the idea was like, how can we take this character and animate him in 3D? So this is one of the tests that we did. So basically, it's this thing that we're doing where it's, you know, we want to try and find new ways of doing things at the studio. This is an example of that. So that just loops on and on and on. So yeah. So I'm going to go into my personal projects. It's about me. So this is me a couple of years ago, I think. I've got a bit more hair now. And this is me when I was 8 years old, I think. So I've always been into animation. I've always been into cartoons, especially Saturday morning cartoons. And as a kid, I was always drawing comics. So this is probably one of my oldest drawings. When I was younger, every time I drew something, I didn't like it, I would throw it away. And I think it was my my mum's friend's son was telling me I shouldn't be doing that, and I should be keeping them, and I'm like, so I started to keep it from then, so I've just got like a backlog of drawings. Yeah, so this is like, I'd always draw comics. That was like my favorite thing to do, and I was big into things like Samurai Pizza Cats and Ninja Turtles and all that kind of stuff, like anything anime inspired. And it was always centered around some sort of martial arts thing, because I was really into martial arts when I was younger. Like I grew up watching a lot of Jackie Chan and, you know, Hong Kong cinema with my dad. In fact, this comic is actually quite interesting because I remember when I was doing it, I asked my mum if I could put swearing in it, because a lot of anime had a lot of like cursing. And she said, all right, you can. She asked me what I wanted to put in. I said, oh, I want to put like arse and shit. And she goes, all right, as long as you don't put any F-bombs in there. I was like, all right, cool. So it was fun to put swearing in this comic. And my comics always started more or less the same way. Like, it always had a character running at the beginning, trying to do something. It was always the same pose. More on that a little bit later. And what I noticed is that, again, like with this, so this character that I invented, his name was Sanyo, and it was heavily influenced by Dragon Ball. And I did many versions of the same character, and I kept trying to tell the same story over and over again. I never actually finished any of these comics, but what I would do is I would start page 1. And by the time I got to page 10, I'd kind of lose interest. So it'd be like, not lose interest, but I'd be looking at the drawings, and I'd be like, actually, I've gotten better. So page 10 looks so much better than page 1, so I'd start again, and I kept repeating that process. I actually realized through that kind of repetition, that's what actually helped me grow as an artist, but I didn't realize it at the time, that me kind of repeating all the time. But in those days, I never really finished anything. So yes, this is another version of the same character. I gave him more spikes, again, very Dragon Ball inspired. Yeah, and like, again, these 2 pages are exactly the same, but the character's updated. I got a bit better at drawing buildings and all that kind of stuff. And again, it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. So you can see the comparisons. And all these, I've got a bunch of drawings. This is why I call this project, this talk, Soul Projects, because I actually have a folder with all my old drawings in it, and that's why I called it when I was younger, because they come from the soul. Yeah, and I always try to, as I got older, I tried to, you know, update the character and do different drawings just for fun, and it was just for me, it wasn't for anyone else. You know, that's me trying stuff with watercolor. And yeah, again, another updated version of the character. So it's always me trying to improve and trying to get better and seeing my progression. So in that kind of comic, in that sort of, with all the comics I did, this one, I did this when I was about 13 years old. Actually, when we were talking about doing new projects at the line, I brought in some of my old comic ideas because I wanted to do something with one of the characters that I created. And I actually wanted to do something with Sanyo, but Tim McCourt, one of the business partners, he saw this and he was like, oh, we should do something with Ninja Rabbit. And I was like, oh no, it's a bit too derivative, and it's a bit like Usagi Yojimbo and stuff, and it was just for fun, I didn't want to do it. And he's like, oh no, but it's like, it feels of the time, and it's got that kind of naive quality to it. It's like a samurai, but I've called him a ninja, and you know, there's so many kind of conflicting cultural points in it. So I was like, all right, so we spoke about it. So again, yeah, this thing was really inspired by, you know, Ninja Turtles, Usagi Yojimbo, Samurai Pizza Cats, Thundercats, anything with a really long name. The one with the Japanese writing is called Magical Flying Hats Turbo Adventures. And I was actually obsessed with this game. It was like a game on Sega Mega Drive. I don't know if anyone remembers that. And going back to the running thing, it's like I love this drawing so much. Even to this day, I still love that drawing. And every time I started a comic, I always had a character running at the beginning. So yeah, so this is, like I said, this is the comic I brought to the studio. And I actually spent about a year trying to figure out how to make this. And it was actually really difficult. And I was thinking to myself, like, how did I make this as a child? How did I come up with these ideas? And it occurred to me, it's like I was thinking too much like an adult, and I should just have fun with it and think of it like a child would think about it. So I actually did this thing where I put together like a little kind of manifesto for myself. Like I drew it up. I'll read out some of the things it says in it. So it's a year in the making. I haven't made a dent in this. It's time to get shit done. Going to Japan was important. I found my spark and passion for drawing and animation again. Must not let it die. Very dramatic, I know. But it kind of, I just kind of kept it on my wall and I kept looking at it, and it kind of gave me the motivation to keep working on it. And a lot of the things on here actually kind of, well, most of the things on this kind of page actually came true, but I'll show you that a bit later on. So here are some like early sketches, trying to kind of reimagine the character and, you know, seeing what he could look like and introducing new characters as well. So I'm going to play you, there's a lot of, there's a big story behind this, but I'm going to play you the version that we put online first. It's called, so it's called Super Turbo Atomic Mega Rabbit instead of Ninja Rabbit. The reason for that is because when we were younger, when we got the Ninja Turtles over in London, you weren't allowed to use the word ninja, so they replaced it with hero. So it's called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles instead of Ninja Turtles. And you weren't allowed to show nunchuckers either as well. So I kind of put that as my kind of homage to that. So yeah, we released this on YouTube, but I'll play it now.
Musashi, the time has come. Show me what you haven't learned.
So the idea behind this, so personally, I just wanted to make something that was cool, that spoke to my childhood, that had all those influences when I was growing up. And Tim and Max actually took the idea a little bit further and said, oh, what if we could actually make people think this was actually a real thing? I didn't believe it could happen, but we started kind of brainstorming ideas of how we could do this. So one of them was actually to release it like it was a found video. The video effects in it are actually, it's actually like a real video, so we put it on a videotape and re-recorded it and stretched it and re-recorded it again to give it that kind of feel. But that wasn't enough. We had to kind of see things on the internet so that when people went looking for it, they could find things that predated the project. So this was like a model sheet that I drew up, and we kind of got some paper, crumpled it up, photocopied it loads of times. We actually got some Japanese text from a Thundercats model sheet, and we kind of just like scrubbed it out a little bit, thinking no one could read it. But there's some people that actually understood what it said, which was quite funny. But what happened is it started a bit of a manhunt for who made this thing. So we stayed silent for 3 months, which was very, very frustrating. But I think on the internet you could see people arguing like, well, you know, this can't be, this has to be real. Why would someone go to all this trouble and not own up to it? We made fake lunchboxes. So this was, we actually asked like someone, Sam, to actually draw up the lunchbox, but do a bad drawing sort of thing. So yeah, and this actual lunchbox, one of our producers, she's Japanese, so she put it on her eBay and backdated it, and she was selling it on her eBay sort of thing. So anytime someone searched up Ninja Rabbit, this would come up, like, for sale, all this kind of stuff. We actually made a fake cell as well. This took two of us about 3 days to do one frame. So yeah, so Tim, who's working on it, Tim and Max are working on it. You can see like Max is kind of over it. Tim also got his girlfriend to kind of put it on a blog, but we actually found a way to backdate it. So it's actually like the 27th of January 2008. But I think the metadata on it was more recent. So there's a lot of detectives on the internet, and people were like kind of wising up to like what was going on. We did make a bed sheet as well. Like this is one of those projects that really spiraled out of control. And then we actually had a write-up on Vice once we actually admitted it to it, with the heading, how this guy, you know, pranked the anime community. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to prank anyone, man. I was like, you know, but that's how people were taking it. There was even like, because at the beginning of the project, it has WTL Productions, which are my initials. And I actually put that on every single comic that I did when I was younger. But apparently there was like a WTL Productions in Turtle Bay or something. So people were making really strange connections. Like, yeah, WTL Productions in Turtle Bay, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Therefore, and I was like, no, that's not right. I had people trolling us on the internet, like saying, oh, this guy must be like a college dropout, that his dream was to become an animator, so he made this thing. And I was like, no, that's not what it was. So, we even got a company that they were sharing a studio with us at one time, No Ghost, and they hadn't made anything yet, but they're like a VR company, and they actually made a VR experience for it as well. So this was, basically you get to kind of sit in the tank with all the characters and, just experience what it's like to be in that environment. And again, this is not something I planned for. People saw the project and they just wanted to jump on and do something. No Ghost actually has gone on to win an Emmy for one of their short films, and they've done really well for themselves. I'm just very proud that this is their first project, you know. I won't go through the whole thing, but you jump between the characters and look around. Yeah, so this is when like VR was quite new and quite fresh. And then we even had an event for it as well, which was really cool. I think about 700 people turned up for it, which is insane for people turning up to an event where it's only like a minute or a minute, 2 minutes long animation. But this is something that we try to do at the company. We try to celebrate animation. I think animation takes a long time, a lot of effort to do. And it's not enough for us to just kind of do it and put it on the internet. We want to kind of like try and do events around it, especially when it's our own personal films. So yeah, that was a really interesting night. So going back to like my manifesto, like I actually got some of those things realized. It's like the kid that came, he was a bit older, he had a beard, but don't worry about it. We actually got books made, we got like a statue made, posters. And with the project as well came a lot of fan art, which was really surprising to me. I don't know who wrote this comic, but it says, I am the fire that burns against the night. I am the shield that protects the defenseless. My honor is life, and my sword is my soul. I don't know what it means either, but, I'm glad he did it. But yeah, just, people really engaged with the project, different fan art, and some really like cool drawings as well, so yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. So on to the next project, fast forwarding a few years later, the mighty Grand Piton. So I think with Ninja Rabbit, it was a personal project that spoke to my interests, whereas I think this project speaks to me more culturally. One of the things I took away so I went to Japan in 2013. I was there for 2 weeks, and it was like a really inspirational trip, just to kind of engage with the things that has influenced me most of my life. But the one takeaway I took from there was actually that all these things that I thought were kind of anime tropes, they've actually taken it from their culture and their environment. And I think after Ninja Rabbit, I promised myself I want to do something that kind of speaks to me culturally. And this is what this is.
Wesley Louis.
So again, Grand Piton is a personal project, and I came up with the idea when I was actually working on a commercial project, which involved lots of giant robots and mechs, and I was just doodling and having fun, and this is actually what I posted on my Instagram, and it was, I just came up with the name there and then, and it just occurred to me that actually I could actually make something like this. I've always wanted to do something. So basically, my family's from a Caribbean island called St. Lucia. I've always wanted to do something based around St. Lucia, based around the culture. But it was never anything fantastical. It would have been, I don't know, something like a social commentary or whatever it is. And it just occurred to me, I've been into kind of anime and fantasy action all my life. Like, why can't I do something like that there? And that's where Grand Piton comes from. So this is like a very early first design of him. So that's my country's flag. So the blue means sky and sea. The black and white represents the harmony between black and white races. Yellow represents sunshine and prosperity, and the triangle represents the Piton. So the Pitons are basically two famous mountains in St. Lucia. I tried to kind of take some of those attributes from the flag and put it into the logo. So so St. Lucia, like I said, is based in the Caribbean, just above South America, and those are the twin Pitons, Go and Petit Piton. But I also kind of got the idea of calling him Grand Piton because I have like two uncles who are twins who are also named after the mountains. And Grand Piton isn't the only hero to visit St. Lucia. Okay, you get the idea. I'll skip through it because I know I'm running out of time. But my mum always used to go on about that scene. Superman is one of my favorite superheroes, and every time that will come on, my mum was like, oh, that's St. Lucia, that's where you're from, and that's where your family's from and stuff. So I used to see that a lot before I actually got to visit the island. So inspiration for this, again, comes from like things like Spirited Away. Connie, who's the main character, she has a very similar temperament to Chihiro. Giant robots with kids, so Iron Giant, Hero Man. So all these things were kind of my inspiration. I don't know why, but giant robots seem to like hanging around little children for some reason. But yeah, so and I wanted to get like a very interesting silhouette for him, something that was bulky and powerful and a little bit different. So yeah, going through the design process. So this is Connie, the main character. So she's British born and has a St. Lucian heritage, and that she goes to St. Lucia every year with her parents. I actually named her after my best friend who had a child that was stillborn. So I named her after his little girl, and I think he was very appreciative of that. Just her in different outfits. This is Grand Piton himself. And again, I tried to kind of put the St. Lucian flag in his kind of forehead. I thought I was being subtle with it, but I don't think I was being that subtle. And just some other characters that are in it. Her little brother, her mother and father, some mysterious agents, a giant mosquito robot, because why not? Mosquitoes bother you a lot in the Caribbean, so I thought that might be quite interesting. And I also wanted to have like a robot that kind of dwarfs Piton as well. Something powerful they can go up against. Working with No Ghost again, they did a lot of, they did all the 3D work on it. We wanted to, like drawing like mechanical things in animation is quite difficult. So if you can have 3D, it really helps. But I still wanted the 2D animation to kind of drive the 3D. So again, this is my drawing, and this is like the 3D model. So if you look at both of them, they're actually not too far apart, And they also did a 3D mock-up of like what it might look like to be a toy. We're actually going to get this printed this year. I've been waiting for ages to get this done, so I'm looking forward to it. So just a bit about the process. You've got your rough animation. And then you have your 3D kind of matching it. So it's kind of like a glorified cleanup. And I think that the 3D with this, it has to work to camera. So we're able to kind of stretch and pull the model so it can fit the drawing. I think when you look at, if you were to look at any of those kind of frames from a different angle, the one hand would be massive or the leg would be really big and stuff, it wouldn't work. So it's definitely like a 2D LED. And that's the 3D model and just making all the colors flat. And this is the final composite. This is actually probably one of the last shots I've animated. Since, the studio's become busier, it's very hard to kind of be very hands-on with all the projects that we do. So I'm rushing through this now because I know I've got 6 minutes. And then this is just some compositing work that we did in the project. So a lot of layers and a lot of things go into it. The music and the sound was really important for this project as well. So the music had, I collaborated with Rena May Project, who also sung on Ninja Rabbit. She wrote and did the music for a Grand Piton as well. And Box of Toys typically does the sound effects for us. I'll just skip onto this, but the music I really wanted to kind of infuse. So soca's very kind of common in the Caribbean islands, and I really wanted to have a bit of a soca feel to it. So it's got a bit of a
it's a holiday, everybody's out to play. Time to let all your troubles fade away. Holiday, everybody's out to play. Time to let
So that's just a taste of it. You can actually listen to that on iTunes as well. So yeah, it's a soca fusion. We've got like some Hans Zimmer influence in there. Got anime, J-pop, and soca. And it's not really a sound that you're used to hearing. It's not something I've heard before. So it was really like fun to kind of get that together. Backgrounds, again, trying to capture the island, you know, from my visits there, taking photos. You know, so this is a place called the Ramp. It's like a beach in St. Lucia, and this is some footage I took from it. And it was really good, like when people, anyone who's been there, when they look at the project, they recognize the places and the landmarks, and that was really important for me to get across. Just things like, you know, Virgin Airlines was always the one that would go to St. Lucia and that, so trying to capture that as well. Some of the markets in town. This one is very special to me. This is actually my grandmother's porch, my grandparents. So, you know, when my family sees this kind of image, they know exactly like where it's from. They know what it feels like. They know what's behind that wall, like, you know, where we've had dinner and all that kind of stuff. And that's, yeah, just, it's based on a real place. I'll skip through a little bit. And yeah, so again, all these projects, I'm actually going to throw a kind of commercial project in, but the reason I'm throwing this one is it's the closest I've had to working on a personal project ever, because we were kind of free to do what we wanted. It was like a really interesting project. I'm not actually going to play through it now because I do want to show you the exclusive film, but this is actually online, so you can kind of watch it afterwards. So there's some character designs. And again, it was a really fun project to work on because we were just kind of free to do what we want. And that's the good thing about clients. They come to us for what we do and not for what other people do, which is always fun. All right. I've got 2 minutes, so I had 3 things I want to show you, but I'm going to show you the last one because I think this... I don't want to piss off Dash, you know. All right, I'll show a bit of this one. So that project is actually dropping in a couple of hours. So that will be online like very shortly, if it's not already. This is a game that we're developing. And again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I really want to show you the last film. But it's basically like, it's supposed to be like in the style of Lupin and, you know, Studio Ghibli sort of thing. And we wanted to have a very unique art style. So it's like a racing game. Okay, sorry about that. Right, so this is what I really wanted to show you. So this is actually an exclusive, so please don't film or take any pictures. We are actually going to drop this on the 21st of September when we do our anniversary. So it was directed by Venla, who started off with us as an assistant, and she's now kind of directing her own things. And it's the first project, first kind of personal project that has been directed at the line outside of the 6 founders. It's a little bit rude, so I hope there's no children here, but yeah, all right, cool. All right. So yeah, that's Heavenly Vessel, and like I said, that's going to come out in September 21st when we actually celebrate our 10 years of being a company and working together. So yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you very much.